TGIF everyone. This is Dano at Leadham Scale Model Car YouTube channel. Normally, I thought at the beginning when I started my YouTube channel, I would do what I called FaceTime Fridays, but I think I'm going to change that to Freeform Fridays because not every Friday you're going to see my face. You know, it will either be a tutorial on Friday or maybe showing off some of my collection or a build or maybe face-to-face chat about what's going on in the modeling community or what have you. But so welcome to my second Friday installment, and it is Freeform Friday. This Friday, I'm going to give a little tutorial on how I cut and buff. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to do the roof here. I already sanded the rest of the body with 2000 grit. But let me show you what I use. I always start off, in more cases than not, I'll start off with 2000 grit wet and dry sandpaper. And I usually pre-soak my sandpaper just so it's a little bit softer. The reason I use actual sandpaper, wet and dry sandpaper, is because you can level off imperfections much better with the paper than you can if it was a foam pad. The foam pad likes to ride over the contours and such like that and really doesn't cut and flatten out a surface like you should, especially on a rooftop or a hood or anything like that. But anyway, so I start off with 2000 grit. It's a 3-step sanding process. I make sure I get whatever imperfections out, like, you know, dust nibs, dog hair, orange peel, you know, what have you, and to totally level off the surface, just like you see I did on the trunk here. Try and flatten that straight out. The second step after I do that is 3000 Trizact by 3M. It's foam backed. It's very fine grain pattern. It's great for almost all professional body people use this in their cut and buff process. 3000, and I sand it with that then to 3000. Make sure I get all my 2000 scratches out. Then I go on to 5000 Trizact, you know, foam pads. And I do like the foam pads because they're great. You can, like if you were trying to get into a little, I don't know if you can see that very well, like where there's contours and stuff and you can bend it and foam, and you don't have that sharp edge of sandpaper. But so that's my 3-step sanding process. The 2000 to flatten everything out, then the 3000 and the 5000 to bring my scratches down to micro fine. And then after I do that, then I use 3M, a 3M product, Perfect-It number 3. This is their microfine ultra polish, and this will bring the polish out and remove any final scratches. There is a number 2 that I use on larger projects, but it's not necessary for a model. So it would usually be the 5000, then the number 2, then the number 3. But for models, I go straight from the 5000 to the number 3 to get my polish. Now I already did the hood, and you can see there's the hood. I got a little bit more of polishing to do, but you can see how it turned out. So now we're going to show you how I do the roof. And because the roof is somewhat flat, I'm going to start off using a little sanding block. This is actually a furniture pad, leg pad that you have on the floor. It's got a cloth side and a foam side. And you can cut them up to whatever shape, size you want. They're great for models. And then basically just, I'm going to sand this till I get it nice and flat. I do not want to see any imperfections at all. I just want this to produce a totally flat surface. It's always good to stop and check your work. I guess I should have shown you what it looked like before. Dry it off. You can see how it's getting dull. You'll be able to see your shiny spots where it still needs a hit. But if you got any shiny spots still left, you know it's not flat enough. Now, like around the edges, I will use a piece of sandpaper folded up, go along the sides, because that's got a little round over. It's not totally flat. Along the edge. I hope everybody had a great week. Weather's been pretty good here in North Carolina. Fortunately, this roof wasn't too bad. There was some dust nibs in there, a little bit of orange peel, but overall it wasn't too bad. Not a lot of work to flatten it out. I sprayed this clear yesterday about 1 o'clock. This particular clear, it's best to cut and buff within the 24 hours, but you can still get decent results after 7 days. After 7 days, it does not want to cut and buff very well. Just because it gets so hard, it's not cut and buff friendly after a week. This is a production clear that I'm using. You just want to make sure everything's uniform. Keep that sandpaper wet. I do put a couple of drops of dish soap in there. Kind of hold it up so I can see it better. I got a little bit more right here. It's getting pretty close. Uh-oh. Oh, wrong piece. Now, I'm not bearing down on this. I'm using just a little bit of pressure, just enough to let the sandpaper do its work. Now I see it flat. A little bit in this corner, I see a little shininess. I'm gonna take the sandpaper. Go along the edges one last time. But you really want to make sure this is uniform. You want to make sure that your scratch pattern is uniform, that defects are out. See how that's nice and flat? I don't see any shininess anywhere. Nice level surface. So now I've moved to 3000. And the 3000 actually goes pretty quick. See, your initial sanding with the 2000 or 1500, whichever you decide to start with, it's always the longest because that's where you want to make sure you got all your imperfections out before you move on to the 3000 and 5000. I love this stuff. I've used this stuff in for a long time now. Started using it, like I said, I used to do yacht work and doing high-end finishes on the yachts, you know, woodworking actually. And they were so particular. They would come in with lights and sheen meters and scratch, actually, so they can see scratches. And these yachts were so expensive that they had to be pretty much perfect. So they would come in with these sheen meters and these lights to make sure that the gloss and the finish was absolutely up to par. So using these Trizact finish sanding pads, the 3000, 5000, helped really assure that you achieved the ultimate finish. There you go. Enough to get all those 2000 grit scratches out. So you do that. I mean, if you look carefully, there's actually starting to be a sheen, a shine already to it with the 3000. Now I move to 5000 and always wet. I always use this stuff wet. Keeps it from clogging up. And I tell you what, it's expensive, but it literally, for at least model work, it lasts forever. I mean, it just, you keep it clean, keep it rinsed off. It takes a long time before you really wear this stuff out. Just make sure you cover the whole surface. And always, when you cut and buff, make sure you have enough material on there that you're not going to burn through. Get that nice and finished off, nice and flat. All your imperfections are out. And you see relatively how quick this goes. I mean, it depends, of course, depends on how much dirt you have in there, how much orange peel you have in there, but really not bad at all. And you can see, let me just, look at that, already getting a shine. So now, you don't need a buffer. You can actually buff this out by hand if you want with the 3000. But I got a little buffer that I use. Just because I think it makes it a little better. It doesn't take much either. This is what I use for most of it. The pad is a 3M pad, and it's a system. The pad will match the color of the compound you're using. Like the Perfected #2 has a black pad, which is stiffer, but this is the finest pad. It goes with the Perfected #3. And I bought this at Harbor Freight years ago, and it works great. I can control the speed. Easy. I'm not using a lot of pressure. Keep it moving because you don't want to build up heat. You can see what we got already. It does go fast if you want it, but I mean, this is just such easy trigger control. I love this tool. This thing has paid for itself so many times over when I was doing larger projects like motorcycle gas tanks and fenders and the bikes and everything. Let's keep it moving. Little microfiber cloth. And there you go. How's that for a finish? Nice, flat. I'm just going to put just a little bit more compound on here. I can see a couple places just needs a little bit more. And yeah, I use this tool on pretty much the whole body, unless I got tight contours, and I will do that generally by hand with a soft cloth and the compound. There you go. What do you think? I don't know if you can see that. Well, you can see the reflection anyway. Anyway, that's that's how I cut and buff. I hope you appreciate the video. I hope you learned something. Like I said, you can buff it out by hand if you want, using a compound. This is just my recommendation. There are plenty of great compounds out there, great polishes. Everybody has their favorite, but like I said, step 1, the 2000 grit. Step 3, the 3000 grit Trizact. Did I mess that up? Anyway, step 2, the 3000 grit Trizact. And then step 3, the 5000 grit Trizact. Then the polish. And there you go. Everybody have a great Friday. Peace and love to you all. Click like and subscribe. I appreciate all the subscribers. Much love to you all. Have a great day.